Hey guys, how you all doing today? It's Jordan here from Switch Watch, back again with another review, this time of Typoman on the Nintendo Switch. Now, Typoman was originally a Wii U exclusive that did eventually find releases on other platforms, and I have played it before, but is this Switch release as good as I remember? Let's find out. Typoman is a game with an interesting history, especially with Nintendo. It was originally touted as one of the first Minigames when the Wii U was ailing, especially in the physical releases department. Released as an exclusive, I reviewed it back in the day and loved it. It did have its problems though, and it eventually made its way to other consoles with the revised edition subtitle. It's finally made its way to the Nintendo Switch, so do I think this word-based platformer is still great? The story is pretty simple, a classic case of good versus evil. You are hero, you're literally a character made up of those letters, H-E-R-O. And it's your job to make your way through a surreal, repressed world and maybe, just maybe, destroy the evil that plagues it. Everything about the story is told with dialogue-less cutscenes, and plenty of them. They're really well directed too, considering there's no dialogue or text of any kind. It's remarkably well told and animated. In this world made up of words and letters, there is a lot of wordplay in the environments and characters with letters that are really well entwined into them, creating great imagery. For example, when a demon appears, the word live will transform into evil. There's one really great scene where the word smash transforms into chasm and then chaos. The words themselves didn't really need to be there, but the choice and the cleverness of how they fit in with the narrative made me genuinely give a thumbs up while playing. The overall narrative of the game seems to have been polished to perfection. Every detail seems to have a reason or purpose for being present in the environment. In this revised edition of Typoman, extra tidbits of story have been added with little secrets hidden out of the way in the environments. These come in the form of quotation marks, and each reveals a little bit of extra thoughts around the context of the game. I can see why they were added, but honestly this just seemed like extra fluff. I prefer to leave the story of this game to my own imagination. The music is very atmospheric and minimalistic for the most part. Like the artwork, it presents a very bleak picture of the world that Typoman is set in. It's slow, moody, almost depressive. There are, however, the occasional rays of hope seeping through. Every track suits each situation very well, so during the fast-paced action you'll be getting more heavy and exciting tracks with lots of industrial sounds to fit the theme. Due to its mostly isolated feeling, it's not something that I would personally listen to outside of playing the game, but it's perfect for the game itself. Visually, the game is certainly distinct. It's stylistically beautiful. It's very monochromatic with almost the cliched black silhouettes, but there are dashes of colour, especially as the game goes on. There's a bleakness to it all. The background paintings of industrial factories looming on the horizon gives a really menacing feel as you walk by. Everything is animated simply, but each asset looks gorgeous. The final boss of the game is revealed really slowly, and it's possibly the best looking thing in the game, even if it is 90% silhouette. It's just so much style to it. There's a lot of depth to the environments too, like during one rather grim area there are piles upon piles of letters in like a landfill site. Although all of the letters are jumbled and tangled, occasionally you'll make out certain words like fallen and trust through the rubble. Like I said before, everything seems to have a reason for being placed there, and it's really well thematically designed. As part of the revised edition of this game, we were promised to have things running a tad more smoothly than they were on the Wii U, where there were some rather unfortunately timed stutters, usually when you was trying to make a jump or land somewhere precisely. As for my playtime with this port, it seems that things really were fixed and I didn't notice any hitches. It seemed mostly very smooth this time around. Yes, there were occasional stutters, but this time it was mostly kept to screen or story transitions and kept out of the gameplay part. The gameplay is a platforming game with a high focus on puzzles in the form of some interesting wordplay. Our hero has a special ability that allows him to interact with letters that are strewn around the world. Connecting letters to form words makes the thing actually happen. For example, you have a door. If you connect the words O-P-E-N, together within the vicinity of the door, et voila, the door will open. It's pretty cool. You can form the letters manually by grabbing hold of them via the ZR button and pushing them together, picking them up with the A button and throwing them, or if the letters are bunched together, you can quickly unscramble them by pressing Y, which will bring out a more convenient ordering menu. This is something that you'll need to keep remembering, especially at high pressured situations. While I do enjoy this kind of gameplay, I need to admit sometimes it can be a little bit finicky in Typoman, and in high pressure situations some of you may get frustrated a little. The wordplay is not completely open though. In each puzzle situation you're only given a certain set of letters to work with. It's not like scribble notes where you can create anything you want. There's generally only one solution to the puzzle at hand. It's impressive how they've squeezed so many brilliant uses for this mechanic into the game. One of my favourite moments is where it's raining into a small pond that you need to cross, but Hero cannot swim. The word rain is spelled out in the cloud above. Conveniently hanging around is the letter D on a rope. Swinging the D in front of the rain will briefly spell out drain. As rain is no longer the word, it will cease and the pond below will drain out to allow you to cross for a short moment. This is one of the more simple puzzles of course, but it shows the great wordplay to be found in Typoman. At times there are gas leaks in the way. To make your way through without suffocating, it's best to carry a handy pea with you to give you the occasional gasp of air. It's so simple yet so brilliant. It's not only puzzles you have to overcome. Like the genre states, there is platforming to be done, often very precise and tense. In fact, the first time I played the game, it was one of the platforming sections that presented me with the biggest challenge in the whole game. Honestly, platforming is not the game's strong point by any means, and I often struggle with timing my jumps. While death is meaningless, it can present a little bit of frustration at times. There are even enemies and boss battles. Enemies can be taken out by environmental hazards and even warded off by creating words with nice connotations like good, love, brave, faith, and these create a safe bubble around you that the nastiness can't penetrate. You can't physically defend yourself with any attacks or weapons. All Hero can actually do is jump, pick up letters, and pull levers. After you complete the main game, you'll unlock two minigames. The first is the Antonymizer, and the second is Word Hunter. Now normally I don't care for minigames whatsoever, but the first one really caught my attention. Basically you have a word to spell out, but the letters that you're given aren't quite enough. So you have to make words, then use the lie feature which turns that word into the opposites. And then you have to use the new letters you got from there. I actually really like this game quite a lot. The second game is more generic as it's just to spell as many words as you can in a set time. It's okay for a few tries to get a high score, but it didn't keep my attention like the first one did. So there's a prologue and 3 chapters to make your way through, each one featuring very different environments. It doesn't sound like much, but I actually think it's perfect. It'll take you about 3 hours to see the credits, which is just enough to leave you feeling very satisfied. You came, you saw, you conquered. It doesn't outstay its welcome at all, I don't think. It squeezes a lot out of different circumstances, out of the basic mechanics, and it never feels repetitious at any point. If you want to go back and collect the rest of the quotes that you've missed for your journal, that may add replayability, but it's not something I would personally do. For £9.99 or $10.39, I think Typoman presents decent value for your money. Overall, Typoman is a really good puzzle platform game. It has a really unique concept that's brilliantly executed. Puzzles and action moments are balanced really well, and it's paced to perfection. The direction and wordplay are something really to be admired. Sure, it may be a bit limited at times, and the platforming sections can irk you somewhat, but that doesn't stop it from being a game that I can easily recommend. I would give Typoman an 8 out of 10. Okay guys, you know what to do. If you're regular in these areas, hit that like button and leave a comment below. Have you played Typoman during its previous releases, or will this be your first time picking it up? Or perhaps it's not quite your thing. If you're new here, then I implore you to subscribe for more awesome Switch content. You certainly won't regret it. And finally, as always, head over to the website switchwatch.co.uk for the written review, as well as news and features that is definitely worth a daily look. I've been Jordan from Switchwatch, and I'll see you guys next time.